let's call this meeting to order. Welcome of guests and public comment. Robert, what do you got?
Well, thank Rose for her excellent work and helped me out with some things like always. She's the best you got.
You bet.
Thank you so much, but Kathy's the one that did the work.
How about both of them?
There you go.
Okay.
Thank them both. Thank you.
Thank you.
Both get kudos. Okay, very good. Thank you.
I think it's kudos.
Kudos, excuse me. Kudos might be
That's the
in
leaves.
Australia or something.
Little grassy.
That's a bird. It's a bird down there. Okay. Item 3 and 4, I think we want to discuss that in closed session a little bit later. Okay, item 5. Judy, let's go ahead and order the election of the directors.
Okay,
Okay?
all right. And Lisa's not here, she's under the weather, but she stated that, as dictated in the Texas Water Code, Chapter 49.103B, it is required that the election should be called in May of each even-numbered year to elect an appropriate number of directors. Enclosed under separate cover, you will find the order calling directors' election to be held May 2nd of 2020 for positions 1, 3, and 4. At this time, it is asked that you approve the order calling directors' election.
Okie dokie. So we need a board action to approve the ordering of the election of directors, divisions 1, 3, and 4.
Motion to.
All right, Mike made a motion.
Second.
George second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Now, Judy, the same thing on the locations?
The locations,
Or are they set by?
yes, Lisa, being our election filing officer, has been communicating with the county of El Paso that runs our elections, and we are going with the same locations that we had scheduled last time. The fire station in the Upper Valley in Isleta will use the reservation council's meeting office, and in Clint we'll use our offices here, and then pending Fabens we'll probably utilize the county facilities there, the road and bridge facilities.
All right, is that something that the board needs to take an action on, or is that just something?
No, it's just something that we're negotiating with the county on and
Okay,
scheduling on it.
okay, so far that looks okay.
Yes.
Gotcha. All right. Go down to item 7, minutes, gentlemen, under tab 7. Minutes of the January 15th meeting.
It's all where there is a beehives were vandalized.
Yeah, sure did.
That's terrible.
Terrible. He or his brother or his cousin. Mike, George, you see anything on the minutes?
Refresh my memory on that one about the what's his name? It's right here on the bottom. I think we were gonna redo it, or I thought we did it. The one
Which
with,
one?
what was his name? Escobar. I thought we,
Application by Enrique Escobar, declaration of surplus land, is that the one you're talking
Yeah,
about?
no, you all approved it, and Jay has moved on, and we sent him a letter. He has answered, he has accepted what you all proposed.
okay.
And-
Oh, we did.
Yes. So
Because
he
it says no action is taken.
Right, that's what I noticed that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't vote on anything.
Yeah.
No, we didn't.
You all just gave us direction.
Yeah,
we gave them direction, but we did not actually approve anything.
Yeah, because we have to put it all together for it,
Right.
it's just a pricing.
And he's in the process right now of doing the surveys, and as soon as,
Once we
we
get-
should have that back for the March meeting.
Yeah, once we get it all put together, then
Yeah,
we'll.
we made an offer, you can do a town offer. Wasn't that what it was?
He accepted,
He accepted it.
your all's,
Yeah,
He submitted an offer and
Yeah.
Right.
we discussed it.
So they're,
but technically, we took no action last week.
all right.
Yeah, we don't really have, I mean, he's verbally, and we're working with
Correct.
him, he's accepted the thing, but, you know, that's the whole reason it takes so much time to get it. It's not official until we have all the paperwork and it's signed. There's two checks in
We
it.
did all the all the administrative stuff, that's what we're doing.
It's the same way we do all work this way. I mean, whenever we have a value, we always come to, we don't set value on anything for the district. You guys
Who's
don't,
acting
same
as
people
secretary
over
of this meeting? Sharon.
Just, what bumped was it said no action was taken.
there. No, you didn't take any action. You did not take any action. We don't want you to take action. You're just giving us recommendations on value. And then we tried it, now you're gonna get another chance at it, you can say this next time that you still don't want it, you don't like it, let's say, because these, like everybody knows, real estate deals aren't just about money, right, they're about everything else you gotta do.
It's trying to get to the end of
Who's
it.
the secretary of the
All
meeting?
sorts of,
Yeah, there's all sorts
we're
of.
close, yeah,
That's what I'm
we're
asking.
making progress, yeah,
If
that's
we got somebody,
next week you can say, I changed my mind, and you'll never see it again. Until the next person wants to do it. But yeah, we do that a lot of times. Sometimes I think Harvey members, we come back to you on value issues 3, 4, 5 times,
Right.
right?
see, that's
Absolutely.
not gonna show him.
We usually discuss those in closed session because it's value. that-
Correct.
Why can't you
And that's where it
act
was
as
discussed,
secretary
but no action was taken.
formally?
Okay, anything else on the minutes?
I'm just raising the question of who's gonna be the secretary of this meeting? For purposes of
Oh,
signing the minutes.
George can be,
okay.
want to be the secretary?
Did,
Just takes a signature.
well, yeah,
Yeah, George could be.
George could be,
We have to attest it.
could be an acting secretary during this
He could
meeting.
be, he could be assistant, acting secretary, yeah,
There,
acting, that'd be good.
very good.
Okay.
You're gonna be acting
We can make
secretary.
you assistant if you want.
Okay. So
You're automatically acting.
acting secretary, do you have any other questions on the minute?
That's the only one.
Mike, you got any more? Okay.
It's sort of part of the way.
I will entertain a motion to approve as mailed out, or,
We just drag it.
I moved to accept the
Then it
minutes.
won't be a vote.
okay, and Mike seconds it, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
All right.
Aye. Okay, under tab 8, Mary.
Our balance sheet, there's a significant increase on our general fund balance. We, at the end of the month of January, we did receive our payment from El Paso Water on several tax assessment invoices along with the 2001 information.
Okay,
We are at this time working on several projects and we have several invoices that have to be paid. So after March, then we'll go ahead and reevaluate it and see what's still in our general fund to look into investing.
okay. I noticed you've got, let's see, maturity date, you've got 2 of them here in February and 1 in March coming up. Let's see,
Yes, we do. One is our treasury bill.
yeah, one's
for
West
2020.
Star,
Correct.
and, well, 2 of them are West Star. Okay, do you have any idea what sort of interest rate, or is the Fed open again?
The Fed is open again,
Okay,
and the rates have been low.
been dropping.
Yes, they have.
Okay. So, coming up, for example, here in February, late February, are you seeing us reinvesting those, or are you gonna need those?
I do see us reinvesting.
Okay. All right. Okay. Good. Balance sheets? That's not my fault, thank you. Anybody, Mary, I have one, you know, what happens is bet you that you've probably been looking at for months. On our current assets, if you start at line 11,650 to 654, those are prior year's stuff that's in arrears, or you got a P&I, penalty and interest column, prior year's collection fee, and I realize some of those are big, but at a certain point in time, will you remind me, is there a certain point in time we move those off the asset side?
No, we don't,
We never did,
no, we
even on those real old,
Exactly, not under the water code, we cannot
okay,
remove them. Only if the taxes were ad valorem, there's a 20-year limitation on real property.
okay.
Bankruptcy resolutions. we used to-
Yeah, I was gonna say, it's a case like that, something you would.
Yeah, no, we take care of all legal actions,
Yeah.
yes, of course, those we can do.
And those we already have tax suits on.
Okay. Okay, and those are some of those taxes we got,
Yes.
okay. All right, in that case, that's just to remind me as I looked at that. Line 11,699, it says clearing. What in the heck is clearing?
clearing is just a truck,
Miscellaneous to bring everything into balance?
yes, yes.
Okay,
And that will be moved.
okay. All right.
Yeah, that's for us farmers, that's miscellaneous.
And I was gonna say,
expense.
miscellaneous that we lost somewhere along the way, somewhere, just to get us in balance
Right,
with what the bank said, you know.
Or sometimes they call it adjustment.
Murphy's adjustment,
Yeah.
Murphy's law adjustment. Okay.
I don't wanna look for a nickel.
Mike or George, y'all see anything on the balance sheet? Don't wanna let Mary off too easy now, do
Only on the investments, a little bit on investments. We're, the 2% plus, and then they're renewing June, I think, renewals. And you said you got reinvested back into the same, SL safe.
No, she'll go out for bids again.
Okay. And the trend is still above 2%, or?
No, right now it's below 2%. This was last year's rates when they were above on the treasury bills, above the 2%, but they dropped.
you? T-bill's under 2.1 right now, for 30 year.
Right. So she'll go out for bids, local banks and T-bills, and then bring it back to you all with her recommendation.
I wanna say, I think I saw the 2 year is like at 1.48 or something like that right now. Or even less than that, I don't know, pretty low. So, now, we have a net revenue statement. Anything you would like to point out in there?
There's just an adjustment on the way the report is at this time, and it's more of the accrual basis.
Okay.
So we're gonna add a report next month that'll be accounts receivable, on a cash basis to make it consistent with what we were doing before last year.
Okay.
So that'll show you how much of Rose's, she tells you everything anyways, right, in your presentation, but we'll put it on paper, well, it's on paper on everything, but we'll consolidate all the contractual obligations for payments plus the tax obligations into one sheet so you can see how much we've invoiced and how much we've received.
Okay.
You know, where we are in our collections.
Yeah, this is gonna show, and Rose is gonna go over some of the same thing. We're under budget on our land assessments. Surprising, everybody knows we're gonna have a good water year. It seems like we're lagging.
But this is last year's, 2019.
Right.
Tax and arrears.
Right, but
Yeah,
normally
we're-
people
But
want to
for
get
this
even,
year,
so they get water this year, right?
yes.
So I'm surprised we are seem to be lagging last year.
Mhm.
And I realize we're talking about lagging
Yes, I can.
lagging years, but yeah. Okay. And Mary, on your
We've
third,
seen, Mr. Agnew, that with comes closer to the water season, then we have a surge in
Gonna get a
payments.
surge, we hope.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, part of that is that's a budget number, so the budget numbers aren't ever exactly the
Right,
revenue numbers, so.
Right.
She'll give you, her report
Yes,
reflects
I'll give you my
exactly.
numbers, yeah.
Yeah,
right.
Her report will clear up.
yeah, and she has the exact numbers and all that, and what we can expect, and budgets, we're just taking their guess that we made a year ago, and what we would get, so.
Okay. And Mary, I see the third party, like you said, we've received one payment, the first one, here in January. Okay.
And we're 3 months into the budget.
The, one other question, on your operating revenue there, do we show, or we don't show the possibility of any grant money or things that we might apply for on a participation basis?
That
or
would be under the account 40400,
40400.
specials, capital
Capital
projects.
projects, so that does include anything we may hope to get on grant money?
Yes, sir. And we are in the process at this time, submitting our quarterly.
Yes. So, just so you understand, and maybe it'd be good, and we'll get with Omar, we've done it before, we could do a summary each month, so there's, just like real estate, grant money comes in phases. In other words, there's a proposal phase of what we're proposing, you guys write resolutions. It's just saying that if we were to successfully negotiate a contract, this is what you're obligated to. Then there's the contract phase, where we actually sign off of it.
Right.
And then that point, it goes to Mary, is something, so, and then there's almost everything's reimbursement, right? So, even if you're in a contract, let's say you're in a contract for $2 million, that doesn't mean you're gonna get $2 million. It means that as you apply for those reimbursements, that $2 million is the maximum you can receive.
Okay.
So there's gonna be a continuous discrepancy on those issues. You guys may see a contract for $2 million with a reimbursement basis, but we may end up going over, which you'll pay the difference. It won't go over the $2 million. We may go under, in which we'll never realize the full $2 million. So those things are just the nature of those. So we probably would have to have a separate sheet to keep track of what we're under reimbursement contract for, how much we've actually been reimbursed, and when we close it out, what the final amount would be, because I doubt it'll be exactly $2 million unless we go over. And of course, I think Omar and I are trying to make sure we don't go over. So, because then we pay 100% of everything that goes over. So we'll get that to you, but those are special. And then Mary's looking at me like we're a pain in the butt, but they're definitely require
Or special
special.
with some of these bigger projects.
And then
Keep
also
us up to date.
submitting on a quarterly basis.
And then it takes them
Once
about
we submit that, and it still takes.
90 to 120 days for them to pay, so
Correct.
So it's a management tool
Yeah.
that we're gonna be using.
Yeah, it just doesn't, it's not gonna fit into your general accounting sheets like you see right now. You're not gonna be able to understand why those numbers aren't balancing out or aren't matching. So I think it would be appropriate that we start with a monthly grant sheet that shows you where we are.
And that's a start, that's a good start. And I don't know if this would work or help, but as part of the whole process, you have the grants that you've obtained or you agreed to, and then you'll have the ones that are in the application process.
Right.
And then you have the wish list, and then out of all that, it'd be nice to know what a projected grant money is for
I think you hit it right on the
to
button.
shoot for, and see how Omar's performance is, I guess.
Well, his performance is great, but we already know that. But just to understand all those things, I think it would be, just like you said, almost 3 different parts of that sheet showing what we've actually proposed, because you have to do resolutions for that, what we're planning to propose on doing that, and what we have under contract. Really 4 parts and what we've received under the contract. So it'll be confusing no matter what. So that's
Either way, but I think it's a revenue stream that it's going to help the district, so.
Mr. Razor, Omar, I know, but it's pretty large, even right now, under contract.
Right now, we've got La Union East, we have the Montoya, we have the Franklin Feeder, and we have the Riverside Canal that have all been approved. I've already signed off on the contracts either with Texas Water Development Board or the Bureau of Reclamation. Plus, we've got two more pending, Omar,
Yes.
to sign contracts. And we just received an additional 75,000 for our telemetry
Yes.
and our meters. And so we have, we've got enough to keep Pete busy the next couple of years. So far this year, and Omar's in the process, we've been working on $1 million grant application for concrete lining of the Riverside Canal from Wasteway 1, going as far as we can towards Wasteway 2. That will help us tremendously in that canal.
Tomorrow we have a meeting with NRCS on an $8 million grant.
Won't see that in the books.
Well, we're just a meeting. We're not, we're just meeting. We don't know, it's to see if we can propose and if we can qualify to propose.
Confidence out, may put it in the books, and
Mary, it's Johnny and you guys and ask of the trader that we don't get to put anything in the books until it's signed by, and approved by the board.
And that's why Mary wants to carry what she's carrying in the checking account, because we won't get reimbursed like Wasteway 2, we've got expenses there, we won't get reimbursed for probably another
3 months at least.
3 months.
But it's free money that we're getting. That's the beauty of it. It means, yeah, we have to match or so forth, there's percentages, but at the end of the day, it's there and we don't take advantage of it. It just,
No, we've
they're
been,
doing a darn good job.
we're doing a great job on that.
Okay. Mary, on your next page of that net revenue statement, just remind me again on line 6901, payroll expense related, right below it's payroll expense, wages, I understand the wages, what's the related?
What was that account again, Mr. Reagan?
Number 60901. 60901.
Payroll expense related is our social security and Medicare.
Oh, okay, so that's the taxes.
Yes.
And possibly withholding, or not?
No.
That's the straight taxes. Excuse me. Okay, and it looks like we still plan to spend some money with Pete, I noticed. Pete here. No, it's all right.
Okay.
No, I'm just,
which one?
no, I'm just looking at, we're gonna spend some money with Pete, repair and maintenance water distribution system. Isn't that Pete?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. And capital purchases, 1.6. Okay. I also noticed, we're projecting dipping into our reserves a little bit here. Is that not what you're showing on this budget sheet? Or this revenue statement? Mary, we got an operating revenue 11.8 and a spending of about 14.
Yes.
So,
We're estimating that there's several revenue income that we don't put
okay.
in the books. That always comes in, but it's not on the budget at this time.
Okay. So if everything stays like it is, we're projecting a 2.3 million dipped into the reserve. Okay, so we're hoping,
Yes.
okay.
We have, just so to clarify that, we build up very large capital money that we're holding in capital
For the
reserves.
capital.
And we have a 5-year plan that we re-each each year, which is at a target of $2 million. So you would expect, since we've reserved that money, you'd expect to go $2 million every year into
Right.
reserves
Right.
out of that.
For
So,
what?
I mean, we designed it that way. We put that money away previously so it'd be available for the future to use. So, so we're really not, it's again another
Yeah.
planning.
In other words, it was planned for.
It was
Just
planned
point out
for,
that
and
it
we've already,
showed-
we've
it
reserved
showed
that money.
Al,
for
that's
this
really
purpose.
right, we planned on spending that money.
You won't see it in the revenue stream this year because it was revenue that we had reserved in previous years.
Right, I see.
And I think you've been under budget in the last Since you've ever been here, right?
The last 50
Since the day you arrived.
The last 10 years, it's been
it's
under
been
budget.
rough.
Okay.
I was just trying to give credit, it was when Mary came.
Well, she's been here now
Going on 11.
11 years, yeah.
That's what, yeah.
Decade,
That was quick.
decade,
Decade.
almost.
A decade in the black.
That's right. So you're still 29 years old, right? All right, Mike, George, anything on the,
Can we go back to the operating revenue?
Sure.
Number 40213.
402?
What are those licensing fees? Dewatering, this is stuff we're getting paid for to use our ditches, right?
Correct.
Right.
Developer pumps it out?
Either crossings or
Oh, okay.
dewatering or,
Yeah, typically dewatering is for sewer lines.
Sewer main is the biggest line.
Okay, so we thought it would be around 100? It was, correct? Is that what that means?
No,
No,
they
we
haven't
received any.
Oh, you haven't received it yet?
We, as far as the fiscal, so at the end of the fiscal in October, we, I guess, transferred over what had been realized at that time in October. So then we start new in November. We currently have 3 dewatering projects ongoing that have been dewatering since last year. So until the project is finished, we'll close it out. We have the money in an escrow account, if you will. So we require the deposit up front, and then as the project progresses, we'll transfer money. At the end of the project, it all will be realized in the budget. But that's not until the project finishes or the fiscal year comes to an end.
Okay. So the license fees are from us to them? All
No, all that's revenue.
5, 6?
any, from them to us.
Right. Okay.
But it seems low.
Yeah, and we always, Alan and Jay always estimate low, lower than, we've always brought in more than what we estimate.
We had, in 2008, we had some problems because everything stopped construction-wise in that recession. So we've been more cautious since then, so we don't overestimate. I think that's why the board's corrected us. They don't want us to overestimate revenue.
Okay.
Want to keep the bill tight.
So we're expecting to beat it anyways, that's based on historical.
Yeah, historically, we've always had. Except in 2008. But Mary wasn't here, right? That was right when you came.
So we'll have a windfall, like expect a windfall.
Yeah.
We look forward to positive thinking, right?
You will, yes.
Every day.
Every
George, you have any more questions?
No, that's just
Mike?
my curiosity there.
No. All right, Mary, here, let's see, $500. Okay. One question on the very second line, TCEQ, is that our normal?
That is our annual.
That is our normal, it's within,
After the adjudication.
And the amount has stayed the same amount for the past 3 years in a row.
okay.
What do the initials stand for?
TCEQ,
Yeah.
Texas Commission on Environmental Quality.
Oh, okay. And you say that's the same revenue?
It has been, they had an increase about 3-4 years ago, and this amount has.
I think it's set by the legislature, so. They're not in session this time, right?
No.
So, okay, we're safe for
We're
another
safe for
year.
another year.
And that's an annual?
That's
Yes.
an
And it's for what? I mean, what do we?
It's to live in the state of Texas, you have to pay. If your irrigation is.
Did you send a thank you note?
We never,
TCEQ has oversight of our, chapter 55, is that right?
Protection money.
49.
Well, yeah, chapter 49, chapter 55 in the Constitution. We have some limitation under the Texas Constitution.
Right.
They're our regular, they regularly.
we never used to pay until we got our waters adjudicated. Then they started billing us.
Well, nobody paid for a long time, they passed a law, it's so that it doesn't come out of general fund to administer water rights, comes out of fees. So that's been a trend that the state of Texas legislature has undertaken for the last 20 years, of pushing everything to be fee-based. And it used to be paid out of Lola's oil and gas revenues, but not anymore. Now it's out of the water rights. So whether we have water, you know, you guys understand that does, on our adjudicator amount, no matter how much water's in the reservoir. It's based on what we have a right to if the water were available.
Right.
They get
That's
paid
what
no
it
matter,
stays.
yeah, they get paid no matter what.
What's the, item 7, telemetry, it looks like,
That's,
like maintenance or something?
that's part of the grant funding that we got, that we received. Robert and Rick and Al have put together a list of items that we need to upgrade our system.
Yeah, 7's actually for the river team, for their meters that they use to measure the velocity of water in the river and the canals. So it's sort of more, I don't know if that's part of the telemetry or not, I don't think it is. I think it's just a routine thing that we go through periodically, trying to keep those meters as precise as possible, so that's more of a requirement of an operating agreement. Well, it is a requirement of an operating.
Well, in that vein, item 4, what the heck, they charge that much for like one pole
Yes,
and a fan?
that was the pole there at Wasteway 1, that the electric company, when we redid Wasteway 1
Yeah,
at the Riverside Canal,
yeah.
we automated those gates,
Oh, okay.
and somebody either hit the pole, or we had that windstorm that knocked it down. But anyway, when it went down, it pulled all the wiring from, because it was underground,
Oh, my God.
pulled it all the way from the gates, all the way to the pole, and we had to repair all that.
Wow.
So
Yeah, it's 3-phase too.
So all 3-phase and then,
we've gone in with a steel pole now,
okay.
and we're going to build a concrete foundation around it to protect it. Because we don't know if, we have an agency that likes to test out their 4-wheel drives around the border area, and we don't know if it was hit by one of them, or,
Really?
yes.
You sure it wasn't one of my employees hitting me?
But anyway,
My employees pick those things up too.
Lisa and Mary have worked on filing an insurance claim, since it's a large
I
amount.
was gonna ask.
Okay. Is El Pat, what is the arc in front of El Paso Electric? What is that?
No, that's the company that
That's the
we,
company, yeah.
that
The
we
private company.
hired
It
to
was after the meter.
It's
to do
electrical.
The El Paso arc
No,
Sorry.
so just guys understand that repair was after the meter.
after the meter,
It
okay.
was a private repair,
Okay, okay.
not El Paso.
Our is not El Paso.
It was a 4-gauge wire, about 200 feet.
All right.
Conduit, I think. Or
So
no,
they-
material.
That was their pole they put up?
Conduit.
I guess their service pole.
It was our service.
It was ours to service the gates, the wasteway.
Okay.
And so it didn't have anything to do with their demarcation was not damaged, it was just from where we took control of them. I would say I think it was a dust storm when the windstorm hit, and so it was a combination storm and a vehicle, right? So they could say they didn't see where they were going.
How are the gates working? They were installed, what, 10 years ago?
they're working perfectly
Okay.
great.
Well, yeah, they're working fine.
What kind of maintenance do you guys, I mean, is it just on things or?
Was it an annual system?
That- right.
Like greasing of the bushes and all that, like that.
We're epoxy coated gates, and so they got 25-year life on the paint job, but we do inspect them periodically, and at some point they probably have to be repainted.
I remember they were very expensive gates.
That was 100% paid for by the federal government for flood control.
By the International Boundary and Water Commission, Al and I negotiated with the commissioner. back
The
then.
new gates that are going in were pretty expensive too, but they're similar in design to those. They're on Wasteway 2. Wasteway 1's got a higher flow rate for the flood control, so everything's a little bit heftier there. And we're trying to, Pete's not here, I'm not to speak for him, but we're trying to recycle as much of the material as we can from Wasteway 2 if we rebuild it.
But remind me, were they the gates that you wanted, that we wanted, or were they the equal?
So we specified them, or equal to, yeah, everything's equal to, so
But
there's
they
3
were-
bids
They were
on
to our,
dark ones.
because for a while there, they did the
Memory.
they did whatever they wanted to some extent. So
Not on this project, Al and I sat with the commissioner and Al put together the specs and
This was the
they
old.
did all the work to
Yeah,
ours.
so it was Carlos Marin was there, wasn't it?
Yeah, so
We
everything
started
was-
with Carlos Marin and then we finished up with
Yeah.
Lucina.
Okay.
So they took our plans 100% and went forward with them. And the same thing really, so I think what you're talking about, Miguel, is we went through this period, there's really more later to Wasteway too for the last 3 years, that we didn't get to design it. And they went ahead and did the partial reconstruction, which was, impacted us on the operations.
IBWC did.
Yeah, and then through that negotiation, they've been very cooperative and very helpful with us. They let us redesign it.
Right.
They approved the designs, they paying for all the materials, we're paying for the labor. And that's appropriate because roughly, it's about a 50-50 deal with those two numbers, and that's why we do it that way. It's a reimbursement basis, so it makes it easy for Mary to account for it. And we also, in the process, are rebuilding our check there, which is 100% our responsibility. So it's a very much took a bad situation and turned it
I'm
into
glad to hear that. I'm glad to
a
hear that.
great situation. And there's really been a big turnaround, I think, with the boundary.
Yes.
I mean,
And
huge.
actually, Wasteway 1 was a great project that we worked with them.
Yeah, that was,
They concrete lined 100 feet above the structure, above the wasteway and above our head gates.
Which is Raceway One, the one
By the,
Crystal Ray?
no, the one here by
By
Rio
the
Bosque.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
River Trail.
Okay.
Number 2 is the one up there by,
Is that number two?
Utah.
All numbers.
Number 2 is down here by Fables.
oh, okay, that's the whole.
What's that one up there? The one by,
That's,
the first?
that's
one?
the settling basin.
That's what?
The settling basin?
Down from Utah?
There's not one, two,
Yes.
three.
No.
No, one, two, three, okay.
So 2 is Hole in Wall, see, I get confused.
Yes.
Still. Yeah. But wait a minute, 2 was,
2 is the one we're doing right now.
yeah, okay, I got it.
And people,
That's not the one we had that.
we've got some drone film that
Oh.
Omar put together of Wasteway 2 that you all will see today.
Okay.
And just, what, we still use fax machines? I know there's a fax machine cost.
there's some legal documents that have to see some of that.
Yeah, we still receive some
I
stuff.
still have one, I still have a fax machine.
You do?
Yeah, and I still use it
Come
on
on,
certain
Art.
documents.
Oh, okay.
No, because they're very hard to intercept or to hack.
Yeah, so
When you send your fax over your phone, you're just putting it out there, but if you use a landline, then it goes very secure.
And we've
It's
had,
very secure.
our dispatch office receives the water orders either by phone, computer, or fax, or in person. From the front.
Interesting. I learned something today.
It's for old timers that are
Farmers are
paranoid.
still using fax machines.
I still use it. Still use it.
All right.
The number 16 right there, this backhoe, are we hurting for backhoes or what
No.
happened here?
That's a special backhoe that people needed at the project to break up the concrete, and rather than
Beat up our equipment.
beating up our
That's what
equipment,
we're on.
Go backward.
Oh, so it's one
Beat
of
somebody
those
else's.
chisel things.
Yeah, it takes a
Oh.
toll. I mean, when you
Yes.
chisel, it just
Oh.
destroys.
Yeah, they always use their older stuff and put those on.
Well,
What's, how many days or how long is this?
I think we had a minimum of 2 weeks.
Oh, that was for 2 weeks?
Yes. And since that project is being financed by International Boundary Water Commission.
So reimbursement.
Are they loaning us any equipment?
Yeah.
There's Wasteway, sorry. New table.
So on this side is Joe Feedlot or is that over?
No, that's the Coral Ponds, those were
Oh, yeah.
the sewage treatment plant. Those are tumbleweeds right now.
You can see the
There's a
pole,
boat, yeah, there's a boat.
the poles right there.
Yeah. Is that the new one or the old one?
That's the old.
That's the
That's
old
the
one.
old one. Sorry.
They had to rebore from that location all the way to the gates.
Underneath the gates, they bored the panels in between the two gates, the ones perpendicular to the flow and parallel to the flow, yeah, right there.
gates in this job that you were talking about?
Yes.
Oh, the radio.
Radio gates.
What's the lifespan on those? Probably,
100 years.
I don't think.
Those are, they've been in there for 10 years now.
We have to, if you pay them, maybe 1,000 years.
Yeah.
Still in pretty good shape, and Robert has Rick Valles appointed or assigned to checking out the main gates and making sure everything's greased and working properly.
Are they
So-
galvanized frame, the outside?
No.
No, they're powder coated.
They're epoxy powder. I don't know if it's powder, I think they're a two-part epoxies, but anyway, they're similar to powder coated. So they're for underwater services or aggressive service, so we have pretty good luck with epoxy coated paint.
The sediment buildup? No,
Nope.
that's there because you go way back with
Well, Pete and Robert questions, does sediment build up between Wasteway 1? I don't think so, I think it's self-cleaning, isn't it, Wasteway 1?
Yes. Yeah, right, the structure, yes.
This was the project that we started well, we didn't, but it kind of started the process because right as soon thereafter, we started doing something.
Yeah, that's-
We actually,
That's the
right
first-
there is, IBWC paid for the concrete up to, right there where the lower part of the picture. And then that's our first project of shotcrete,
Right.
from that location to Partidor. We had already constructed Partidor, and it was still an earthen canal until we did that first project. And happy
Pretty good.
to tell you all that we had very minor cracks, and it's now, how old, Pete?
Yeah, probably 8 to 10 years.
2005 or 4.
Yeah,
So we've,
something like that.
that's before the panels that
Those
we're
are
using now.
Yeah, that was partner was 2000.
Is that a flying saucer? What is that?
That's our drone, is that the drone?
That's the drone. That's the internet. There, it's gone. So that was, I think this was our second one up here, wasn't it? Well, this is an old photograph, wait a minute, sorry. I don't understand sometimes why it does that, but there, I clicked on it, now we have a new photograph.
Oh, wow, okay,
So that's the second time, each time it looks better, right?
yeah.
So,
So I think that was like our third project, Pete?
The Riverside?
Yeah, the Riverside from the end of the American Canal to.
Yeah, that was
in
our,
front of.
like our third project, fourth project,
Uh,
yes.
So what was this one was the extension was our second?
Franklin Feeder was our
Franklin
second.
Feeder.
I mean, the feeder.
Yeah, from Socorro Road to Alameda.
mm,
See, over here. Right,
so, enlighten me a little bit about where we started when we started shotcrete. Like what percentage were we lined overall of 100%? Were we 10% lined and all that?
We're 0 on the.
We're 0 at 0.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm trying to think, just wait a minute, I'm having trouble flash back to
No,
19,
flash.
but I don't think we had any canals on.
No, we did,
Well, we have a canal.
we've had some of
Laterals.
the Bureau of Reclamation did some laterals.
Yeah, but any canal, we haven't had a single, I mean, American Canal Extensions line,
Mhm.
which wasn't, it's not ours, it's federal government canal.
That's the only one that wasn't
Yeah.
lined.
Yeah, that's the only one, we have, everything else, there wasn't a single canal that was lined of our
We're
property.
at 0 then, basically.
Yeah, I think 0. Well, Franklin, that first part, I guess, a little bit,
By Stevens.
but, yeah, there's a,
Put a thought down in Maine,
But those are all-
So where are we at now? No, I'm trying to get a feel for the whole pace of
I don't know,
project.
5%, what do you think?
Oh,
Still very.
Got a long ways to go.
we got a long ways to go.
Yeah.
5%.
We've got
Yeah,
a-
5, I don't know, less than 10, I'll say that, so I haven't done the calculation. But, you know, we're picking we picked the low hanging fruit, there's some canals will never line because they don't leak that much and there's no reason to line them. And, but we're doing the ones that cause us the most trouble, right? Sediment and leakage and urbanization. And I think the very first project, and it's an alternative to lining, and it actually works pretty well, I've done it in numerous places. We weren't here, I mean, Robert was here, and Jim Spear was here, he was here for everything, but, was when they put in those cutoff walls on the Franklin downtown. Remember the slurry walls, the reclamation installed?
I gotta say, I wasn't here yet.
You weren't here yet. You were just in the field out there.
I was somewhere. $210,000.
Yeah, so that was, I think, in the seventies or maybe even the sixties, right? It was long.
I was here when they, like, down at the zoo, when they would cut branches and lay them into the bank so the water wouldn't corrode the bank.
Oh, so they all,
We put bamboos in the banks.
then they ended up in the first check structure.
I guess where I'm going with this is I was just curious to see the trend as far as the efficiency factor of doing the line out. Obviously, it's a more efficient system, but from an engineering standpoint, how efficient is it and equated to dollars from a benefit cost?
Oh, well, you know, I'd be glad to do one of those studies for you. They've always felt that the benefit of me doing the study was less than worth the cost, but. So
Well, I mean, we are spending a lot of money and we are.
Oh, no, I don't
continuing-
disagree
And I want
with
to
you.
get motivated, say, wow, this is, I can equate it to dollars.
The big gain is not only concrete lining and saving water, but also the maintenance portion. We've got, those that we concrete line, we have very little maintenance that Pete has to send mowers back or reshaping and so on like that. That's where the big savings in. And in fact, Omar is working on putting all that together, you know, what, how much we've done and what our savings, more or less, water and seepage
Okay,
and
perfect.
evaporation. But the maintenance is a big